Establishing instant credibility. Hey, I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations, and I've written a book called Established Instant Credibility. It's about being able to walk into a room and being the most credible person for the topic in which you have expertise. Now, I'm going to share some of the mistakes people make when it comes to establishing credibility and some of the misconceptions that keep you from being a credible individual. So first, what are the benefits of being credible? So if you are going to go for a new opportunity, a new job, a new client, or anything, having the client understand in advance of your interaction that you are a knowledgeable expert in a particular area, that you have expertise and previous experience, that you ultimately have the ability to get certain work done, will make it easier for you to close that deal. So in the workplace environment, a lot of people believe it's the resume that helps them be more credible in an application. However, that's not the case anymore because people are using social media to background research you. If you're not aware, there are actually services that for $49, I can find out everything about your credit. You have to, of course, apply for a job, but I can find anything about your credit, your previous work history, your, whether or not you actually went to the college you went to. Everything. See, because we're in a world that doesn't trust the information that we see. We look for certain signs and signals that establish credibility of the individual separate of their own claims. So when you apply for a job and you just simply send a resume, a lot of these organizations are going far and beyond the resume itself to determine whether or not you should be hired. Now, when you're outside like a salesperson and you're selling products and services, they're going to look beyond just the sales pitch. They're going to look at how you're dressed, how you present yourself, whether you sound credible or trustworthy. They're going to be looking at the reputation of your product. So they're going to be looking for customer testimonials. They're going to be looking for evidence of value. Now, here's the problem. The majority of the people out there do not know how to judge whether somebody is credible or they're an expert in their field or whether they're an authority. And very often they're going to make a lot of different mistakes that it's going to make them hesitant. So they know they make mistakes in hiring people. They've been screwed before. And so ultimately they're going to be hesitant working with you. So the book talks about, and the book's available, it'll be available on Amazon soon, but if you visit www.jwhco.org, there'll be a link to a digital version that's available right now in part of our pre-publication launch. The book is called Establishing Instant Credibility. And here's the premise. If people have a defect in judgment, people get scammed all the time. Their spidey senses don't go off and they make bad purchase decisions. That's going to make them hesitant. If people look beyond the resume, if people look beyond just how you present yourself, or they make decisions based on just how you present yourself, you need a new tool to establish credibility. Now, credibility is valuable. If you're a speaker, it means higher speaking rates. If you're a doctor, it means better compliance and success rates with your clients. If you're a lawyer, it means not only credibility to getting clients, but credibility in front of judges, credibility in front of the subject matter that you may have a jury evaluating. These things can be built and established in a very systematic approach. Now, we're not tricking anybody where you legitimately have to have some kind of credibility. And that credibility exists whether or not people know it. I don't know if a lot of people realize that, but your years of experience in a job, the situations and activities that you've done over time, where you've come from as an individual, the life experiences, all those things create a certain level of expertise and authority that you have. The problem is that other people don't know about it. You can't just tell them because it doesn't work that way. The things you say about yourself are less trustworthy than the things people say about you. So how do we establish in such a way that the potential customer, okay, because you don't need to be credible to everybody. You may be looking at me and say, what is this dumb hick looking guy doing and telling me about being more credible? It doesn't matter. For my audience, I'm credible because, again, I've done the things that prove my value to them, and I'm not trying to be credible to everybody. And so in your area of expertise, your area of experience, you can position yourself in a marketplace to collect higher fees, to have a shorter sales cycle, to be accepted or hired in such a way that it increases your opportunities by doing the things that are necessary, which I outline in the book, Establishing Instant Credibility. Let's talk about another mistake. There are a lot of folks that think because they went to a fancy college, they don't need to they don't need to prove themselves. Well, I'll tell you, as somebody who made six figures without an associate's degree, without a college degree, without an advanced degree, who's somebody who's worked in environments where I was the only person who didn't have at least one master's degree. I've even worked with people with doctorates. You can prove yourself with skill set if you have the credibility factors. Okay, and we're not going to list out the credibility factors here. I just want you to understand that you don't need a special degree. You don't need special training. You don't need to prove yourself with a piece of paper, because now we know that more and more colleges, especially the for-profit colleges, are not teaching anything. And so if you've got a bachelor's degree in underwater basket weaving, people now know that the bachelor's part is not equivalent to a bachelor's degree in, even business administration is kind of soft these days. But if you had a computer science degree and a bachelor's in computer science, then that's different than a bachelor's in underwater basket weaving. So they're going to ask you about your majority. Now, it is entirely possible that if you can prove that you have a skill set, that somebody's going to hire you without the degree. Because, again, today, I didn't have the time to go get the degree. I was working. I ran a company out of high school, and I had 400 or 500 customers over probably so I graduated from high school, and then probably to about 2000, I was doing computer repair. I had small customers, big customers. I had hospital customers. I had other things. And then I just hired a bunch of people with master's degrees or certifications in the industry, or I hired whatever I needed to hire to go do the work. And so I was super busy running a company, and I didn't have the time to go get the degree. So when I left the workforce, I used the skills that I teach in Establishing Instant Credibility to pave the path that hiring me was a good decision, because you're not going to know whether I got a degree or not because of the ability for me to perform. Now, did it hurt me? Yes, it hurt me that I didn't have a degree. And I eventually got a bachelor's degree with a minor in psychology. I picked a bachelor's in liberal arts because I could go through and basically pick all the courses that I wanted. And then ultimately I graduated when I was 40-something years old. But ultimately, you can have success without the degree, without the certification, without all these other things. Would those things make it easier? Possibly, yes, and so this is both an advantage and a mistake, because when you have a certification, it shortcuts a lot of people's brains, and they'll hire you because of the certification. They don't look into the work ethic. They don't look into past performance. They don't look into anything else other than the certification. But that's also a mistake, to hire somebody based on their paperwork rather than their performance, because the paperwork is easy to get. Now, again, it's easy to get if you got nothing else to do. If you're not running a multi-million-dollar company, if you're not running, managing big projects, if you're not doing actual work, yeah, you can go finish off a degree in 8 years or 10 years or 15 years and then get out in the workforce, and you might get some short-term advantages. But again, results come by paving the path of credibility, positioning yourself as a recognized expert, establishing the authority, and then you get the results now rather than later. So I was personally making six figures in environments where everybody around me has got a master's degree or a doctorate. I have heard in cases, I interviewed with Texas Instruments. They flew me to Texas. And I did not like this. I'll outline this in the particular book. I mentioned it in a previous book. They flew me to Texas. They interviewed me. And the reason they didn't hire me is because I'd be the only person in the room without a doctorate or multiple master's degrees. And they were concerned the other people would be upset. Well, yeah, they might be upset because they spent 15, 20 years. They spent most of their life getting a degree, and they didn't have 20 years of work experience. They didn't have 15 years of work experience, 10 years of work experience. They had 3 to 5 years. And sometimes people do get upset. They invested all this time and money in a degree, and this little kid comes along, and he's out there, doing the same work that I'm doing, getting paid the same that I'm getting paid, and he don't have no degree. Well, that's because I study and read and I apply and the things that I teach you in establishing instant credibility. Now, could I be further along in life if I had the degree? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. You shouldn't judge where you ought to be in life based on one factor, because again, there's the economy, there's other conditions that will impact your success. The key that I'm pointing out here is that the degree isn't the only thing. So it is possible for you to have a doctorate and be making minimum wage because there's no demand for what you have a degree in, and you've been using the degree as a crutch, and now ultimately you're up against changes in technology, you're up against changes in economic situations. And so the system that I teach in establishing instant credibility goes beyond that piece of paper, and in 30 days, 90 days, 120 days, you can establish your position built on actual experience and knowledge. So again, if you want top level pay but you don't have the skills, you want to get credibility in the area where you do have the skills so that you can start gaining skills through work, experience. And then of course there's some people that have side hobbies. So for example, artificial intelligence is the brand new thing right now. Well, nobody's been working in the field of artificial intelligence that much because it hasn't been a widely used skill. Yet there are thousands of individuals who have, on a hobby level, they're out on GitHub, they're out on all these other platforms, building up experience in artificial intelligence. And while they don't have any credentials, they could credentialize themselves to get top paying opportunities in that particular field. I've known lawyers that specialize in 2 or 3 areas, but their website says 15 different areas, and you wouldn't know that they're an expert in X versus an expert in Y. And this system that I share in establishing instant credibility helps them get to a position where their authority is recognized, their expertise is known, and ultimately they have credibility in the engagement. Let's talk about the last thing on the engagement. A lot of people think just because they wrote a book, just because they have a degree, just because they have experience in the field, just because they've been in business since 1918, that they should magically get a customer. I'll tell you, in this global economy today, that there are thousands of people in every position. Think about it, you're a local town. There isn't just one pizza shop. There's always lots of pizza shops. And they have a share of customer because there's only so many people who want to buy pizza. This is very important to understand because in the marketplace, whether you're a rocket scientist, whether you're a doctor, lawyer, whether you're there's like 15 different types of doctors, whether you're a professional consultant, whether you're a top earning individual, just because you have a position today doesn't mean that position will be available in the future. So what we have to look at is how do we adapt in the environment so that we are the one person people turn to when they have the question that you can answer with authority. And this is very valuable. You're going to be able to position yourself as the one and only people go to for a specific audience. That is the key. If you want to show up somewhere and when you walk in the room, people know that you're the guy or you're the gal, you're the person who can solve their problems, you're going to establish instant credibility with a particular audience. So it's a mistake to try to be an expert to everybody. I know it feels good when you're in the newspaper, quote it because you're the expert in whatever the newspaper is writing about. I know it feels good, but that audience in the newspaper isn't a customer to what it is that you offer. So you have to know the techniques and strategies to syndicate that credible reference. But there's even ways to create credible references. I want to invite you to visit the website www.insidestrategicrelations.com. If you have any questions about increasing your influence in a marketplace, about growing your credibility, you're going to visit the contact page and you're going to ask those questions. Again, I'll answer a lot of questions in the comments below, and there should be a link somewhere in the description in order to get a copy of the book, Establishing Instant Credibility. What you'll invest in this book is far less than it's actually priced at less than the hourly rate of my typical client. And if you're not already earning that much per hour, then you need to get the book in order to position yourself as an expert in the area of expertise that you already have. This isn't about creating a false sense of inflated egos. It's about demonstrating where you're at and that value to specific customers or specific hiring managers so that you can level up. If you're not getting paid what you deserve, then this is how you get the position that is going to put you where you need to be. And that position is credibility, influence, expertise, demonstrating that you are an authority in what you do. And then again, when you gain more skills, then you authority to the next level. It's kind of like ratcheting up your career opportunities and your job opportunities and your client value. Again, I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations, where we help professionals transform business relationships into profits. And my new book, Establishing Instant Credibility, will help you do just that. Give it a spin. Again, it's less than the hourly wage for the typical person that I benefit, or the typical person that needs the relationship beyond the resume, beyond the LinkedIn profile, beyond the the application or the sales pitch. You will get results when you are a credible expert in the area in which you serve clients. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next video.